Before we get started, on behalf of the devotee community, I wanted to thank Dayanidhi Prabhu for pulling together that fantastic festival yesterday. And it was crowned by Bhakti Saul organizing a first-class feast. It's true. You can have, everything can go fantastic, and if the prasadam, people remember it. And everything, we had one Janmashtami, all the lights blew out. Literally. We overloaded the power with the, here, come on, just to get it over with. Thank you very much, Prabhu. And, but the prasadam was great. Everybody was happy. So prasadam is really pretty much the crowning determiner. But there was a Western couple here for the first time. And I checked in with the guy after. Anyway, it's a long story. But at the end, I said, well, what did you think? And the man said, I've never experienced anything like that. With just, with real appreciation. And his girlfriend said, man, did we pick the right day to come? We just... So, anyway, and I think the next one, the final one, is in September? Is it June? Is it that soon? As soon as June. And we'll all swoon. And they're going to do all 3 altars. We'll need extra volunteers on the altar, but we're going to do all 3. That's Dayanidhi's plan. Okay. Let's get rolling here. We're going to do 2 things today for those out in the ether world. We're going to have a short class, and then we're going to, as I mentioned, that our international governing body, affectionately known as the GBC, those are the initials, Governing Body Commission. Just as a sidelight, anyone know where that name Governing Body Commission comes from? I do. Just hang on. It's like I got a horse, I got a whole back, a thoroughbred, and wants to run. It comes from the Indian Railways. And the slogan when Prabhupada was, a young man, and he was riding the trains all the time for his business, was keep the wheels rolling. And then there was another thing that it shows a guy shoveling the coal, another guy taking the tickets, that everyone participates to keep the train running. So that's where Prabhupada got Governing Body Commission. So we meet once a week for a Zoom call. And goes on for an hour and a half and whatever, if you figure that there's over 700 temples and thousands of devotees, living in the temples, then we've got congregation. If you add up our congregation, and forget counting in India, but if you add up our congregation, it's a couple million people. So if you put all that together, Prabhupada, I was there in the room. Prabhupada said, spiritual movement in the material world, difficult proposal. So there's issues, there's things that come up, So we meet once a week, and before we dive into whatever the critical issue of the day is, one GBC member, and we're rotating our way through them alphabetically, gives a report on the activities from their zone or their area of responsibility. So last week I showed you, where were we? We were in the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Albania, Finland, and Mongolia. The land of Genghis Khan. So today the class is given by Chaitanya Chandracharana Prabhu, who's a very powerful preacher. And he's also the spiritual master of Dvijamani Prabhu. He's actually quiet at the GBC meetings, but you'll see, he's a very powerful preacher. So that, it was his report last week, so we're going to go to the Ural region of Russia, sort of central Russia, western central. And then we're going to go to the stans, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan. What have I forgotten? Any other stans? Not Afghanistan. We're not going to Afghanistan. No. I don't think we have a temple in Afghanistan. I think there's two places we don't have temples, in Afghanistan, and we don't have one in North Korea. Although we have devotees in North Korea. Yeah, don't advertise that one. But we do. And I'm sure there's devotees in Afghanistan. Okay, let's roll. It's an amazing thing when you think about it, that Prabhupada, an elderly gentleman, but not in good health, no money, no contacts, in a foreign country with a foreign language, in the middle of the Bob Dylan singing "Dogs Run Free, Why Can't We?" It's against all the odds. But somehow or other, by the will of Krishna. Jayarado Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayarado Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Jasoda Nandana Vajjana Ranjana Jasoda Nandana Vajjana Ranjana Chamunti Ravanatari Chamunti Ravanatari Jiraro Marava Kundabihari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Jasoda Nandana Vajjana Ranjana Chamunati Ravanatari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Oh Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Boom. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, oh. Geraro Marava Kunda Bihari Geraro Marava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Kriba Jagacharya Siddha Shri Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBT founder Charya Jaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kora Vaishnava Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Shri Goho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Dwarka Dham Ki Navadi Dham Ki Jagannapuram Dham Ki Chumunamai Ki Gangamai Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samveda Bhakti Vinda Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Sri Siddhara Giridhari Ki Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jagga Ki Gopremanande. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to Divine Lord Sita Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Krishna Sudamo Pakate Dharmaganadi Bisaha Kala Nasadasham Mesha Parano Ko Nadodita Narayana Namaskritcha Naram Chaivam Narotama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from the 6th canto, chapter 11, verse 20. Yeah? Alrighty. Nav Esha Vajras Tava Sakra Tejasa Hare Didiches Tapasa Cha tejita tenaiva shatrum jahi Vishnu yantrito yato harer vijaya shri gunas tata naveshavadras tava shakra tejasa harer didiches tapasacha tejata tenaiva shatrum jai Vishnu yantrito yato harer vijaya shri gunastata nanveshavadras tava shakra tejasa harer didichis tapasacha tejita tenaiva shatrum jahi Vishnu yantrito yato harer vijaya shri gunastata nanveshavadras tava shakra tejasa harer didiches tapasacha tejita tenaiva shatrum jahi Vishnu yantrito yato harer vijaya shri gunastata harer didiches tapasacha tejasa nanesha tejasa harer didiches tapasacha tejasa tanaiva satrum jahi Vishnu tantro yato harer vijaya shri gunastata nanveshatadras tava shakra tejasa harer tejas tenaiva shatrum jahi Vishnu tantrito yato harer vijaya shri gunastata Vaishnavis naneva vajras tava shakra tejasa harer didiches tapasacha tejata tenaiva satrum jahi Vishnu tantrito yato harer vijaya shri gunastata naneja sastras tava shakra tejasa harer didiches tapasacha tejita tanaiva satrum jahi Vishnu yantrito yato harer vijaya shri gunastata nanu certainly esha this vajra thunderbolt tava of yours Shakra, O Lord, O Indra, Tejasa, by the prowess, Harer, of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Didiche, of Didichi, Tapasa, by the austerities, cha, as well as tejata, empowered, tena, with that, eva, certainly, shatrum, your enemy, jahi, kill, Vishnu yantrita, ordered by Lord Vishnu, yata, wherever, Hare, Lord Vishnu, Vijaya, victory, Shri, opulence, Guna, and other qualities, Tata, there. O Indra, king of heaven, the thunder, now who's speaking? Other than Dravida, who knows? Who's speaking? Who's speaking? Yeah. And what's the scene? What's going on?
Indra is having a thunderbolt in his hand and he's meditating.
Yeah, they're in the middle of a battlefield. And Vritrasura is huge, massive. And you've got Indra, by comparison, is about this big with his elephant. And he's just been knocked back. Right? His elephant was knocked back. So what to do, right? He's got this thunderbolt. He's wondering, well, I don't know, you know. And so Vritrasura, Hare Krishna, Vritrasura is encouraging him. Where were we? O Indra, king of heaven, the thunderbolt you carry to kill me has been empowered by the prowess of Lord Vishnu and the strength of the Dichi's austerities. Since you've come here to kill me, in accordance with Lord Vishnu's order, there's no doubt that I shall be killed by the release of your thunderbolt. Lord Vishnu has sided with you, therefore your victory, opulence, and all good qualities are assured. To expedite things, because we want to get to this other presentation, I'll read the purport. Vritrasura not only assured King Indra that the thunderbolt was invincible, but he also encouraged Indra to use it against him as soon as possible. Vritrasura was eager to die with a stroke of the thunderbolt sent by Lord Vishnu, so that he could immediately return home back to Godhead. By hurling the thunderbolt, Indra would gain victory and enjoy the heavenly planets, remaining in the material world for repeated birth and death. Indra wanted to gain victory over Vritrasura and thereby become happy, but that would not at all be happiness. The heavenly planets are just below Brahmaloka, but as stated by Lord Krishna, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Jana. 8:16 from Bhagavad Gita. Even if one achieves Brahmaloka, he must still fall to the lower planetary systems again and again. It's like being on a Ferris wheel, up and down. However, if one goes back to Godhead, he never returns to the material world. By killing Vritrasura, Indra would not actually gain. He would remain in the material world. Vritrasura, however, would go to the spiritual world. Therefore, victory was destined for Vritrasura, not for Indra. Om Ganata Marandasya Gyana Gana Salakaya. Jakshu Shunmilitan Gena Tasane Shi Gurave Namaha. So, Krishna's all good absolute, which means that everyone benefits. Lord Indra gets what he wants. Krishna's not cheap. He's not, you know, if you want some little tinsel, and that's all you're interested in, you'll get it. Krishna can give that to you. However, as confirmed by the Damodar Leela, that if you want Krishna, you have to surrender. You have to make an effort. It's not a cheap thing. And ultimately, only by his will does Krishna allow himself to be captured. Although the Goswamis argue that on one hand you can say that. On the other hand, Krishna, who's Ajita, unconquerable, he becomes conquered by bhakti. He can't actually resist it. Genuine surrender, because it's sweet. That's his ras. But for general purposes, he cannot be conquered. So Indra got what he wanted, but what is the real victory? People, sometimes they think the devotees, you know, it's just a mystery. Well, I'll be frank, because Prabhupada is quite blunt sometimes. I was at the doctor's office a couple of days ago, and they were doing some test. And so the nurse is there, and they ask the standard questions: do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you, take, recreational drugs? So they all these stuff. Yeah, I'm nope. So then they asked, have you ever had any unprotected sex? And I said, honestly, to tell you the truth, I haven't had sex in 30 years plus. And it was like I'd torn the time-space continuum. There's, the nurse dropped her tray. Everybody was like shocked, And I shared this with Dravida. Dravida Prabhu said, Prahlad Nandamar, who's a lifelong brahmachari, when he's asked, he says, I've never had sex. What is that? Because he never had a girlfriend. He was, very renounced, simple person, And they're just shocked. So, how do you, there's a mantra that the sannyasis chant amongst a number of them. We get that, there's another line that's added to Gayatri, which is a rasa bhav line. And there's also some powerful, one of the mantras, the English translation is, it's a variance on the Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundaram, that I don't want any wealth, I don't want any beauty, and I'm not chasing after powerful position. And the last line is, because after all, at the time of death, all of these things are finished. So, let's just step back and look down the road. What do you have to show for it? Like, what is it, the tortoise and the hare? Prabhupada said, slow and steady wins the race. Okay, you can be leading the race in the middle of the thing. You can be leading in the Boston Marathon. But who's the winner? In a race, does it matter that you're leading in the middle? If you're in the, what is that thing they were always, what is that, on the bicycles? What is that thing called? Le Mans? No, what is it? Whatever it's called. They have that big race in Europe. Tour de France. Yeah, there we go. And they're up, they go through hills, they go, so many different things, okay? So I can be leading 3/4 of the way through the Tour de France. But who actually wins? First one across the line. They're the one that wins. So, okay, look down the road. What do you actually have at the end of the day? Einstein. Did Einstein get the Nobel Peace Prize? I imagine he did. No? Acha. Well, what do you know about that? Who knew? But he was certainly recognized as, genius at math and student of Bhagavad Gita. Now, we don't know where Einstein is, but at some point in time after being Einstein, he was sitting there in first grade, and if Sally has 3 apples and Harry takes 2 and Charlie gives her 1, how many apples does Sarah have? And he's like, eat! It's like trying to figure it out. So what was the use of E equals MC squared? Where did he wind up? So one has to look down the road, and what do you actually walk away with? So that's one point Prabhupada's making here. Another thing is you can fight or not fight. We have so many plans. They're always having, one of my favorite examples, and it's true, is, not that the other ones aren't, the Jimmy Carter, in the middle of, there was the highest inflation at the time. It was, the economy was in malaise, everyone was in anxiety. End of the, America as we know it. And they called together the best and brightest economists, social planners. They all got together at Camp David, and they hammered out, they spent 10 days, and they hammered out a plan. And the gist of the plan was, prime the pump. They were going to give back tax dollars. Everybody got a huge discount on their tax return, and even got money in the bank. If you didn't get, whatever. Gave back all this tax money, and everyone was going to run out and spend it, because Sudras, they can't control money. So they're all going to run out to Walmart or wherever they're going to go and fritter it all away on trinkets. And this way it would, stimulate the economy. And everybody goes out and buys, whatever it is at Home Depot, and then that Home Depot, can pay bonus to its employees, and then they'll go out and fritter that money away. And this way, the whole thing, like dominoes, it'll lift the economy. Fantastic. You know what happened? What happened? Completely out of anyone's control. Well, out of their control. The temperatures on the East Coast crashed. Everybody had to turn up the heat, right? So what did they do with the money they got back? They had to spend it all on their energy bills. And what happened on the western United States? Temperatures shot through the roof. Everybody had to jack up the AC. Lost, all that money went to the energy companies. San Diego gouge and extort, SDG&E. They lost all their money. So the government lost all that money, and it didn't prime the pumps. What is it, Shakespeare? The best laid plans of mice and men do oft go astray. It just took some David, just ding, 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 tap the thermometer, and whoa, billions of dollars down the drain. Might as well just light them on fire, Huh? Yeah. So, the best thing to do, I was standing next to Tamal Krishnamurti, University of Michigan. And Vishnujan Swami and beautiful Radha Damodar and his traveling party on the bus, they had a nice pandal. They said they were chanting. So we were just stepping back and appreciating the sublime scene. Prabhupada said Vishnujan Maharaj had a voice that could attract the entire universe. So there was a professor who stopped. And I'm standing next to Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And the professor, so Tamal, he introduced himself. He was the chairman of the religious studies, University of Michigan. It's a reasonable school, 40,000 students, it's a respectable university. And Tamal asked him, have you read Bhagavad Gita? No, he's the chairman of the religions. He was indignant. He said, of course I've read Bhagavad Gita. So Tamal never wanted to back off. Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked, did you understand it? And the guy was like really miffed. Of course I understood it. So then Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked him, so what are you going to do? And you watch this look of puzzlement wash across the professor's. The idea that Bhagavad Gita was a call to action, was a clarion demand of change. The whole point of Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna wanted to do what he wanted to do for his own personal satisfaction. And Prabhupada said the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita was to turn Arjuna from a no man into a yes man. Prabhupada liked to riff off those, because he was saying no. And that ultimately, what was the conclusion? Yes to what Krishna wanted. So, and here's the point. Even in the Bible it says, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. That's like the Mahavakya, the Lord's Prayer? It's their essential, their Chaturshloki. So what Krishna wants is what somebody was saying the other day. I have my plan. Prabhupada said it. I was in the room. I have my plan. You have your plan. And Krishna has his plan. So I remember trying to swimming across the Ganga. Those of you who have been to Mayapur and seen the Ganga. I used to swim 3 miles swimming in the ocean. Yeah. In the old days. Before time and tide had their way. Nicked and scraped by time. So I was a strong swimmer. And there was an island in the middle of the Jamuna, in the middle of the Ganga by Mayapur. And it doesn't look like it's moving that fast. And it's not moving that fast by the banks. So, I was there with Aniruddha, Vaikunta. We were all strong swimmers. And, hey, let's race over to that island. We were young men, Let's race to that island in the middle. So we all jumped in. whoa, by the time we got to the middle, halfway to that island, we were just being swept off. There was no question, you know. And we were actually, you know, it was a little frightening, but, you know, we knew what to do. You know, if you're in a riptide, don't try to swim against it. Angle your way, work with it, just angle your way, and you get out of it, you know. So we just knew, okay, just angle to there was no question of going against the current. We just had to angle towards the bank with the current. You know, we wound up like half a mile or a mile down the Ganga, you know. So who are we? We got our 5-year plan and our, you know, this plan and that plan, and it's not it. Ultimately, what Krishna wants, if we, just like here, if you want victory, how does Bhagavad Gita end? What does Sanjaya say? Other than, well, okay, Dravida, you can say it, because I want you satisfied. You're my. Well, when Sanjaya gives an affirmation, Dhritarashtra ultimately wants to know, hey, are my sons going to win? Or are the Pandavas going to win? Okay, they're fighting. Now, who's going to win? Who's going to? And what is the affirmation of Sanjaya? Wherever there's Krishna and Arjuna, there's.
Yeah, that's the last verse.
Yeah. Which means victory, wherever there's Krishna, the master of mystics, wherever there's Arjuna, the supreme archer, there's victory, morality, opulence, and extraordinary strength. Victory, morality, opulence, and extraordinary strength. So here we see, you know, that you can fight against the current, you can rail against the wind like King Lear, you know, you can rage against the wind. It's not happening. It's not working, you know. The universe is silent. But if we cooperate, if we go with Krishna, everyone benefits. It's glorious for everyone. Now, I want to end with the one last thing because we're running out of time. You know, people are judged, especially in Kali Yuga, everybody judged by superficials. Prabhupada says they judge the book by the cover. Now, you've got Indra, who was extremely powerful, opulent, respected, attractive. And you've got Vritrasura, who was not, I don't think he would win any beauty contest, you know, and he was the original Hulk. But who was, in other words, someone may be very attractive, dressed very nicely, have all the right manners and connections, you know, went to all the right prep schools, graduated from one of the Ivy League colleges. They can be smooth and attractive and sing poetry. But we shouldn't judge by that. Vritrasura was not materially attractive, but he was a great devotee. So I wanted to just read this because it reminded me of a verse by Rupa Goswami in the Upadesh Amrita. Yeah, it's verse number, hey, what is this? Well, that won't do. Don't like that one? Try this one. Here we go. I hope. Well, that's mystical. I guess what we'll do, how did that happen? Oh, that is interesting. Okay, hang on. What we're going to do, when in doubt, there's always folio. Hey, does anyone have a quick folio? Because mine is dying. So we want verse 7 from Nectar of Instruction, and I want the English, and I want to read it. So if you could find it. Verse 7. Verse 7. Fantastico. Thank you, Prabhu. Oh.
Previous verse. To the right. Yeah.
I'll go to the right?
Yeah.
No, I want the one where it says, even if the Ganga.
That's it. Drishta Svabhava Janitaya. Previous verse, 6:6.
Get me there. Sorry for the delay. Thanks.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's 7. 6 being situated in...
Ah, there we go. Okay. So this is Rupa Goswami, you'll understand. Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from the materialistic point of view. Picture a huge, hulking Britisura, frightening to look at, an opulent, glittering Indra. Such a devotee should not be seen from the materialistic point of view. Indeed, in other words, oh, well, he's black, or oh, he's Chinese, or oh, he's from America. He's lily white, pale, worthless, Whatever it is, there's all different ways. Everybody's calculating in so many different ways they're calculating, We've all got, oh, this person, we all have our concept of what looks attractive. Anybody over 30, but to speak of 40, wrinkled up old fool, So, what could they possibly know about anything? And the oldsters are looking, you punk, what do you know about anything, So everybody's like, they're judging by the body or the subtle body. But here it says, such a devotee should not be seen from the materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee having a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or diseased and infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may be prominent in the body of a pure devotee. But despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It's exactly like the waters of the Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam, and mud. The Ganges water does not become polluted. Those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the conditions of the water. So we should never, thanks a lot, Prabhu. We should never judge a devotee by their external appearance. Prabhupada says, how do you know a fool? What is it? Sorry, it's an impure reminiscence, but you might look cute in a tie and a suit, but one thing you can't hide is when you're crippled inside. So they may look nice, shiny on the exterior, but how do you know a fool? As soon as he speaks. Actually, you can know by their actions too. So here we have Britasura, who's come to the right conclusion that just by serving Krishna, by not going according to his will, but with the will of Krishna, becomes empowered and becomes successful and goes home back to Godhead. And Indra, with all of his material opulence and glitter, is just stuck on the cycle of samsara. And we should note, and we'll end here, that Vritasura, facing death, was completely free from anxiety. Completely. I'm not this body, I'm the soul within. And sooner or later, I'm going back to Godhead. No problem. And Indra, with all of his power, all of his Shakti, was completely in anxiety. I'm going to lose my kingdom. Maybe I'm not going to win. What's going to happen? So who, even in this life, who's victorious? Devotee, because they're dependent on Krishna. Okay, we can end there. That was a not so quick. And now we're going to go through this. Now, how did we do this last time? We can move this board, and we can move this seat, and I can sit on a chair. So we need a chair. And we need to hit the lights. Now, I'm not going to remember all the points that Chaitanya Chandacharana Prabhu made. But these are the areas, the Urals in Russian, the Ural Mountain. Isn't it a mountain range, actually? Yeah. It's quite pretty, actually. Central Asia, those are the stans, and Georgia. Okay, who's manning the next? You're our next man? Yeah. So there's 3 zonal supervisors. You'll see it's actually a huge area. So these are the 3 devotees that oversee different parts of the his zone. They assist him as zonal supervisors. Next. They've also got 2 sannyasis coming up from Russia. You know, the atheists' paradise, Religion was the opiate of the people, and now we've got nice sannyasis coming out of Russia. And this is Central Asia. He looks like Genghis Khan, too. Nice sannyasis. Okay, next. So this is Georgia. You can see it's by the Black Sea. It's, between Turkey and Russia, and you've got the picture. Next. Now it's got 3 million people. You can read this. 200 devotees. And 200 means, people coming on Sunday, congregation. And it's a rough place. I mean, we were kicked out of there. That so many different things happened. The leader of the yatra was sent off to Siberia. They've been through a lot in the old days. So 33 initiated devotees, 10,000 books distributed last year, so that you can read it there. So different temples, Namhat. Okay, next. So now we're in the Urals. This is in the middle, central, little west part of Russia. Next. So here's the main cities. Are you from any of these?
I used to live in the first one, Yekaterinburg.
How do you say it?
Yekaterinburg.
Okay, you're going to have to repeat that. And how about you, Dimitri? I mean, Dimitri, no. Okay, next. So it's a little fine, but 15 million people. 5,000 devotees, 1,400 initiated devotees. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? So you can just read the numbers there, but book distribution, so many festivals, 8 restaurants, different preaching centers. This is, and you'll see pictures later on. This is where the first, and I think they're the only at this point, only Radha Krishna deities in Russia? No, that's Ukraine.
Kazan.
Huh?
Kazan has Radha Krishna.
Kazakhstan, but that's another country.
Kazan.
Kazan, okay, Kazan. All right, so we'll roll on. 8 restaurants, you can see there. But we're going to get into these online programs. They got 3,000 students studying online. Okay, next. Because there's more of that. How do you say this place? Oh, Omsk. I wonder if they get any benefit by chanting Om. Okay, they have a big temple, 15 brahmacharis, restaurant, 2 restaurants, Govindas, and one's called Supreme Taste, Ratha Yatra, twice a week, Harinam. It's an amazing thing. You know that, anyway, I don't want to take too much time. Next. So they've got a farm, it's called Planet of Cows, 150 cows, 1,000 hectares. We figured that a hectare was a little more than 2 acres, right? Yeah. No.
Yeah. More than 2 acres.
They're more than 2 acres. I thought it was the other way around.
No.
Yeah, because I thought hectare's bigger than an acre. So this thing is huge, 2,000 acres. Okay. Anyway, so the Srila Prabhupada's caravan. I guess they have a traveling Sankirtan group, preaching center. Just some pictures. You get an idea. Next.
Hectare is 40% of an acre.
40%. Yeah, I thought it was. You were saying 2. It's 2.5 less.
Yes, 2.5 hectares.
Yeah. So there we go. So 1,000 acres means it's about less than 500. Say 400 acres. That's still huge. Here's the Panchatattva deities. Now, they're just a little bit smaller as a nod to Mayapur. They're a little smaller than the Mayapur deities. Next. Here's the Radha Krishna deities. Here's another picture of the beautiful Radha. Do we know the Radha Govinda? There's the name. Oh, nice close-up. Wait. Did I say next? Let the devotees relish for a moment. She looks like a beautiful Russian girl, doesn't she? If you look at the deity, like when Prabhupada saw Radha Parasishwara, the deities in Paris, Prabhupada said that French women all around the world are famous for their beauty. So Prabhupada said, Krishna's come to get some French gopis. And she looks French, she looks Parisian, And if you look at the deities in Mexico, she looks a little Aztec. It's very far out. Okay, next. How do you say this? Okay, so it's the biggest community in the Urals, 7 brahmacharis, Ratha Yatra, 2 restaurants, weekly Harinam. Look at the size of that Sunday feast. Okay, next. This is Perm. They got a restaurant. They also have a huge Ratha Yatra. I've got pictures of it, so I'll show you someday. They also have this cake shop. And this cake shop is famous. It's like people, I have pictures of the different cakes. They can make a cake that looks like a cell phone, a cake that looks like a mouse eating the cheese. They have all these different, and they're all prasadam, no eggs, it's all prasadam. And they're famous. And they make a ton of money. It helps support the temple. Next. How do you say this? Say it slowly. Okay. No, I mean, our names sound funny. They say, how will you ever pronounce that? It's just, it's different language. So you can just see that they've all got restaurants. Where's the book? I guess we've got the book distribution of the total. Okay, next. Oh, this is far up. They have this, go back. They have this acting. If you look at this Chayanya Theater. Yeah, they do these public like Bhakti Marg Maharaj puts on those plays. They have a traveling party and they do plays they do a pop-up stage and do plays and skits and so many things. Prabhupada, when Mukunda Maharaj and the first wave went to the UK, Prabhupada showed them how to do skits on the street, like wrong bank account. There's different, so Prabhupada told them, and they used to do skits, short skits on the high. So it's similar to that. Okay, next. What do we got going on next? How do we say this? Okay. All right. Anyway, you can read it there. Okay, next. So now we've moved to Central Asia. You can see all the stans. Next. And that's where it is on the map. It's south of Russia. It's above what? Above Afghanistan? Is that where it is? Yeah, it's a rough neighborhood. Next. 5 stands on the map, so that's where they are. We had a beautiful farm and community started by Bibi Govinda Maharaj in Kazakhstan. It was absolutely beautiful. It was so attractive that the prime minister's brother saw it and liked it, and they just came in with bulldozers and crushed the houses and moved the devotees out, and they took over the farm. So, they've been through a lot. Okay, next. Here's the major cities. Almaty, I think, is the capital, isn't it? Yeah. And Tashkent is, that's on the Silk Road. That's like opulent for thousands of years. Well, how about thousands? Probably 1,000 years. Next. Oh, here's 2 more big, and then Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. So we're in all of those cities. Next. It's amazing. So here's just 76 million, and they're mostly Muslim countries, isn't it? Yeah, very strong Muslim countries. 40 nationalities, 3,000 devotees in total. That's like congregation, and they got 1,000 initiated devotees. 35,000 books distributed just last year. They got a farm in Almaty. Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. I want to take the time to show their online program. So let's go next. We'll get there. This is their farm, Vrindavan Dham. 30 devotees, 5 brahmacharis, 40 cows. Sunday program, 200, 300 devotees. Next. So this is the Vrindavan Park, 10 families. They got a hall for 500 people. Next. So they do these online. This is one of the geniuses of Chaitanya. Charan Prabhu. This is one of his geniuses. He's developed these online courses. There's a slide, we'll get there in a minute, but it shows you how they just move people along from, they're just Everybody's in stress in the material. You want to give a lecture somewhere, put stress in the title. People will come. Trust me. They'll definitely come. So how to take people, what is it? One of the four ways of people who surrender, in those in distress. So you'll see that slide in a minute, but just look at these numbers. 20 different courses. I think they mean curators means teachers. 5,200 students. 5,200 students taking these courses. Okay, next. So they have a study book, how to read Srila Prabhupada's books. 90 quote, anyway, you can see it right there. Practical advice, beautiful illustrations, and it's working. Next. So this, well, you'll see next. This is coming from Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. This was it's a great name. It means the Institution for Advancement of Spiritual Technology. Those who they don't want to go mystical. No magical thinking here. But, how do we develop consciousness? So next. Okay, there's their mission statement. Next, because I will run out of time here. So here's the thing. It's a design to address the specific needs or pain in society. You'll see what we mean in a second. Next. Yeah, check this out. It's just, and it's working. They're making, hundreds and hundreds of devotees, which total of thousands. For the first step, they have public programs. Second step is they have counseling. There was a devotee who was a palmist in England, and he became quite successful, and he worked his way up to all the higher echelon. He was meeting the barons and lords and marquises and all these different people. And he'd look at their hand and say, you got health issues coming. You better stop eating meat. And, I see divorce coming up. You got to stop. You got to drop your mistress and stop this hanky-panky. You got to. So in so many different ways, and this intoxication, you're not going to be successful in your business. He would preach to them the 4 regulative principles. He would get them to practice it, and lo and behold, what happened when they followed the 4 regs? They started feeling happy. They started feeling relief. This guy's fantastic. So what happened is, it gets a small circle, that upper echelon. They started comparing notes about this fantastic. He said, hey, he's telling us all the same stuff. Hey, wait a minute, So, you want to solve the problem. They're just moving them along the line. You get them to follow the basic principles. You raise them to the mode of goodness. And then they're ripe. There's Vaishnav faculty. But ultimately, you bring them to the point of becoming devotees and serving in ISKCON, just from they're in distress. And he's got all these courses. He's a fantastic preacher, too. He's really good. So you don't know about him because he's speaking in Russian, but he's just fantastic. Okay, next. It's called Live Universe Comprehensive School. Oh, so this is for kids. They've got 306 kids in a kindergarten. That's just this year. They're having, every year they got a new batch, and they're moving them along. Who was the guy, Saint Ignatius, who was the start of the Jesuit education system? Catholics? Yeah. He said, you give me a child till 12, I'll have him for life. And there's a saying, as a twig is bent, so grows the tree. So, you teach kids when they're young, it stays in their head, for the positive. Next. We're almost done. I don't know what that says. Oh, what does that say? What is the translation?
No means movie theater, or movie, and cigarette means light.
All right, well, that's a mystery to me. So next. I think we're close to the end. Oh, here's the number of students. Check this out. You can see the teachers and, counselors and stuff. Yeah, they've got, 5,000, this year, 5,000 people are taking these courses. And it's growing. Okay, next. And out of these, they have all kinds of public events. Where's a picture? Is there a picture of Chaitanya? Yeah, there he is. A real hero on the front line. Okay, next. We're almost done. So here's the book distribution, prasadam distribution. Just in the last year, 4,000, that's just via this online preaching. So just via the online preaching, all these different courses, almost 5,000 books distributed. And at their festivals that grow out of this, almost 17,000 plates of prasadam. Prabhupada said, the poison's entered, there's no cure. Next. Yeah, we're close. So, what is that? 421,000 people are following it? On social media? That's 500,000 people. Jeez. Okay, next. They also, and I've talked to Balaram about this, you know, I don't know how to do it because we're already stretched thin, but I know Tukaram does it twice a year, takes a group of people to India on pilgrimage. A lot of temples do it. And it's a fantastic way for people to really get a taste for sadhana. And you know, it's an event. You go to India. If they go to India by themselves, they just get dysentery and ripped off, really, you know. Oh yeah, they just come all scrambled up and sick, and they're glad they made it out alive. So it's true. But you go with devotees. So they organize all these pilgrimages twice a year with a group of 50 to 100 people. So we really, because I know there's so many people that would go. Okay, next. You have a morning program. You go to different holy tirthas. You show them the sights. You know, they see Taj Mahal. You know, seen it once. You've pretty much seen it. And all of this is supported. They've got business, you know, sponsors. It's approved by the government because they're improving people's practical life. It's just amazing. Oh, there's his picture again on the end right. Am I correct? It's on my glasses on. All right. Okay, next. I think we're done. Okay. Yes, thank you. And it tells you how to contact him. So this is just a slice. Like I was saying the other day, you can measure a grain of rice. You can understand the whole pot. This is just one of, there's, 30 different zones across the globe, different GBC zones. It's just a sample of what's happening. Like churning the ocean of milk, and so many wonderful things came out. So the devotees are churning Mahaprabhu's mission, the will of the Lord, and it's succeeding just like this verse. So Hare Krishna. And we all get to be part of it. Something wonderful. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.